It's Monday, October 25th. Coming up live on The View. Kick off your week with the hottest topics on television. From why Mel Gibson got the axe from The Hangover 2, to the teacher fired for telling students he's gay, and which candidate says being a mom makes her more qualified for office. Plus, For Colored Girls is the movie Whoopi starring in with some of the most powerful actresses in Hollywood. And co-star Janet Jackson's telling you about being a part of movie history. And co-star Loretta Devine's revealing how playing her role is a dream come true. And if she's checking back into Grey's Anatomy this season. All that, hot topics and more, coming up live on The View.
The screaming. Does the screaming bother anybody?
I love the screaming.
I love it.
Because you have that thing in your ear. It sounds loud.
I have 3 kids. I don't even hear screaming.
And a lot of times you gotta get the energy pump because you know.
We have to have screaming?
Our audience is pumped.
Well, you're pumped.
Fired up.
Okay. Now it's so quiet. I'm sorry I said it was
Well, they're afraid
scream
to
away.
scream
Okay. Good morning and welcome to The View. Whoopi has the day off today. Now, we have to start by addressing something that simply will not go away. On Thursday, October 14th, that's 11 days ago, Whoopi and Joy walked off their own set after our guest Bill O'Reilly blamed Muslims for attacking us on 9/11, okay? Well, we addressed it. I don't know who you're applauding for, but you're not screaming. We addressed it on our next live show, which was Monday the 18th. And we said, let's put it to rest. And so we did, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, Riley didn't.
Well, so that's been almost 2 weeks since the incident. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But everywhere I go, I'm still asked about it, and the repercussions are still being felt. Now, NPR host Juan Williams was fired last week from NPR for going on O'Reilly, agreeing with the statement O'Reilly made on The View. And he added that Muslims make him nervous at the airport if they are dressed in Muslim garb. Okay. Now, he just got a $2 million contract with Fox.
Wow.
So, what do you guys think?
Hey, Juan, where's my 10%?
Yeah. Because, you know, if Juan hadn't, you know, this all stemmed from The View when he was on O'Reilly talking about his stance. So it's really, I think The View is supposed to get a finder's fee or something.
We should get some kind of a
$2 million. Come on the show, Juan.
Well, really thinking NPR, maybe I guess all that public funding is going somewhere.
It's a very small percentage of public funding that they get. Actually, they got a lot of money from Ray Kroc's widow, the owner of McDonald's, and George Soros, who's a personal donor, gives them money.
Well,
so it's really not that much.
Some would argue that no matter if they got $5 or $5 million, that if in fact they are publicly funded, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be if they're going to do things like fire somebody for having an opinion, and that's what he says he has.
They said that this was not the first time that Juan has done something like this. They've asked him repeatedly to not, you know, speak on controversial subjects, you know, when he's away.
Legally,
so they've asked him.
I read that claim. It said that this is the latest in a series of deeply troubling incidents over several years. Megyn Kelly, who actually is on Fox, she's a legal analyst, and I think she does a fair job. Okay, she's not a right-wing nut, as you would call them. She actually, shockingly, went on and said that if indeed he was fired for a series of deeply troubling incidents over several years, that in fact if they didn't act on them, that they forfeit the claim. That contractually, if they hadn't acted on them before, then they can't act on this one. So what they're firing for is something different.
You know,
the president of NPR, just the one point, and she's to that. She has already said that it was handled badly. So, just saying.
There was something that we brought up last week that has been discussed that is behind the issue. And that is, if you are a journalist, at what point are you supposed to give the news straight? Which is what we do at the networks. You know, it's why I sometimes have trouble here and don't give my opinion, because I'm also with ABC News. If you are a commentator and you're giving opinions, you're in one category. If you are... Well, you can call it a pundit.
Okay.
If you are supposedly giving the news straight, you're not supposed to give your opinions. Now, that's changed so much. Right. We're in a whole other time now in which, you know, everybody has an opinion, and if you don't make more noise or scream louder or so on, you don't get the rating.
That's right.
So we've got that funny blurred line. They said, you know, he's a journalist, he's a correspondent, he's not supposed to give opinions. But when he goes on another cable show like Fox and does it. So, you know, it's a very blurry line. In the meantime, we hope he'll come on with us, and if nothing else, give Joy and Whoopi 10%.
Bring that checkbook with you, Juan.
I don't need the money.
Bring that checkbook.
But you know, the thing of it is that that NPR has been vetted by objective Media Matter type people. And they have found that they I don't know if it's Media Matters, but I was just watching. I don't know the name. Maybe someone could find this out for me. And they have found that NPR is very balanced, unlike Fox, which is not balanced.
Well, this indeed
Fox
may
has
show
now
why.
become the arm of the Republican Party.
That's
People who are
such a talking point, Joy. That's
Wait
such
a
a talking. It's not true.
It is true.
It is not true. And if so, then why would the Republican
People
Party
who are
allow
running
someone to
for
be their
office are
voice?
commentators on Fox.
Fox is considered, even though they say that their news is fair, they are a very conservative network, not network, cable, with a very particular point of view. I would also like to ask our friend Bill O'Reilly, who is still with this subject almost every night in his program, I think we should get 10% of his salary.
I'm telling you.
I don't want anybody's money.
Well, donate it to charity, you know.
It's interesting, though, because Juan made this statement. He said, I've always thought the right wing were the ones that were inflexible and intolerant, and now I'm coming to realize that the orthodoxy at NPR, it's representing the left.
Yeah, well, that's what
Well, he's what you call a spurned woman. You know what I mean?
Fired,
it's like he's been fired, so he's not going to say something nice.
But we all said here, though, I mean, he was wrong. It was wrong that he was fired. We all agreed on that. So do you think that it was a very politically correct thing to fire him?
They handled it badly.
I don't remember saying that it was wrong that he was fired. I think there would have been better ways of handling it, perhaps, than firing him.
And that's what they apologized for.
I do think, again, if you're supposed to be a journalist and you're supposed to not just be giving opinions, which was what his role, I thought, on NPR was, then they could be, what, like a misdemeanor, so you chastise them, so you...
Where were they, though, with all these other incidents that happened? My thing, I'm wondering if those other incidents have nothing to do with his opinions at all. We would maybe find out in the future.
Well, when I was a legal secretary, they wanted to fire me for years, and they kept hanging on because they just kept saying, we just gonna give her one more chance to do better. Finally, I got fired. Sometimes they just hang on. They like you so much. And here I am, thank God.
And we should get 10% of your salary. Okay. So we have not been discussing this for 10 days, but I don't think we've heard the end of it, and I think Mr. O'Reilly will probably be discussing it again tonight, and we look forward to having him. Some of us look forward to having him back on The View.
Some of us.
Well, I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
No, he can come back. I don't care. Really.
I don't walk off the next time.
Well, it depends. I mean, he said to me, listen and learn. Well, I listened, and I didn't want to learn it.
You don't walk off.
So,
well, we won't go into that again.
Barbara. I don't
well, I know you don't. You don't walk off, and you don't leave your own home. Okay, Mel Gibson is still feeling while we are. You want to say something else?
We can just continue that argument forever, but that, you know, I believe, I come from the 60s generation, you know. We boycotted, we walked off, we protested. We did that sort of thing.
Not on your own show. You can boycott, because you're hired as a professional
to sit here. But I didn't leave him alone by himself. I walked off. I knew you would stay there. It's really your show, you know? No,
it's not my show. Well, it's called The View, and it's all of us. It is not my show, and I'm only on several days a week, so it's less my show than the rest of you.
So when he comes next time, let's take a match and burn our bras. We'll all get involved.
Or Barbara can super glue our seats, and then we can't go anywhere.
Okay, you were there. You two were there, too.
Yes, we were there.
So can I move
directly
on?
Involved.
Okay. So Mel Gibson, he's had enough problems. He's got more. So he is still feeling the repercussions of his domestic issues. He was fired, speaking of firing, for making a cameo in an upcoming sequel, The Hangover 2, after the director, Todd Phillips, said that he didn't have the full support of the cast and crew. Other people have said, well, Mike Tyson had a cameo in the original Hangover, and of course, he was not accused, but he committed rape. Okay? So that was okay, but this wasn't. All right. Now, the cast members now, some of them have said that they thought it would hurt the film if Mel Gibson was in it. What do you think?
Well, again, they would have walked off in the face of bigotry in a certain way, too, because he said some very bigoted things against blacks and Jews, in addition to the horrific things he said to his ex-wife, Gregoriana, whatever her name is.
His ex-girlfriend.
His ex-girlfriend, who has his child. She accused him of domestic abuse, and so he is a problem case. And so they said, look, I'm not... Now, Mike Tyson... You know, it's interesting. I guess it's okay to rape and hit a woman, but it's not okay to attack a group.
No, with Mike Tyson, I think. But Mike Tyson, not only has he paid his dues, he went to prison. I think there's been a large separation of time. Mike Tyson has pretty much reinvented himself, I think, if you ask me.
If someone said something, because indeed he has said things that have hurt a broad group of people, right? And it is bigoted. If you do say something like that, say there was prison time for that. Do you think there's even, because there's prison time for something tangible, like a rape, like a killing?
If prove that he hit her.
He did his time and now...
It's too soon. Right, I think that, you know, Mel Gibson is embroiled in this thing right now. Mike Tyson stuff was so long ago. You got to give it time. And I think it would hurt the movie. Absolutely. I think
films, I mean, if the chemistry's not there, doesn't it hurt it?
But if you don't want... Hangover 1 was, in my opinion, a very funny movie. So you got Hangover 2. You got women who would say, I'm not going to go see that movie because I'm not going to support anything that Mel Gibson is in. It's like you don't want to hurt your film.
It's an interesting switch because he was a money maker in terms of films, and now it's gone the other way.
Yeah, now it's tide is turn. I think you just got to give it a little time.
Another point that's interesting is that Liam Neeson is now taking the part, who was the in Schindler's List. So maybe Mel Gibson can do Schindler's List too. And instead of saving the Jews, he turns them in.
I think the public has to see some type of repercussions.
Right.
They got to see some type of, you know, you're paying for your sins.
I think you're right. I think it's a question of timing, and if Mel Gibson and somehow or other creates a different environment, proves himself to be a different person, then you know he shouldn't be punished for his career.
If you ever hear those tapes, maybe they're scared of him. They might be scared of him. Do you listen to those tapes? He's quite violent in those tapes.
Well, I think what they worry about most, because, you know, they want this, is that the movie's going to be hurt.
Well, there's that.
It's a money decision. I mean, fact of the matter is it's a money decision. If they think he's going to block any funds coming in, bye.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Jodie Foster, by the way, he has a movie in the can called The Beaver with Jodie Foster. No comment. And that's another thing. Jodie Foster has made the following statement, that Mel Gibson is the most loved man in Hollywood. What medication is she on?
Well, people have the right to their, you know, if that's the way she feels. I mean, he has his defenders.
But if he was to come on, if they wanted to bring him on this show to promote Hangover 2, would you have a problem with it?
I would.
Absolutely. So there you go. It's affecting the money right there.
You would protest that one.
I would not walk off the set.
But you wouldn't have him here in the first place.
No.
Would you have him on the show?
Barbara has the ability to talk to anybody about anything.
Excuse me.
Would you have him on the show?
Yes.
Mel Gibson.
Yes.
You would.
If you objected, no. If Mel Gibson said, I would like to be interviewed by Barbara Walters, I would interview him. I don't think it's going to happen.
But that's what I'm saying. It would hurt that movie.
That's a different thing. If you can have him on the show and we can ask him direct questions and he can defend himself or not defend himself.
What if he said, I don't want to talk about the movie? I don't want to talk about I just want to talk about Hangover 2.
Well, then I think it depends on how many restrictions we allow. There are times when someone will come on the show and say, I don't want to discuss this, or I don't know if it's a family matter, and that's one thing. But there are other areas that are so blatant that you have to discuss them. But if you all said, I'm not going to sit here with him, you know, we're a different kind of a program. Then I would say I have to go by your feelings. As far as I'm concerned, if he came on and wanted to be questioned by all of us, hey, that's why it's called The View. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
That's good.
Tuned in, Whoopi is off today, but that hasn't stopped us from giving our opinions, right?
That's right.
Okay. So, speaking of opinions, a Michigan woman is in the middle of a civil rights controversy for posting an ad in her church. She said she wanted a Christian roommate. Now, the Fair Housing Center of West Michigan claims that excluding other faiths from the ad is a civil rights violation. So what do you think? Should she be allowed in her church to put up a thing that says, I'd like a roommate and I want a Christian roommate?
I have to agree with Sherry on this, because even though you can't discriminate by race or creed, in employment, if the person is going to be in your bedroom,
in your home,
you should be allowed to say, I would like this particular type of person who agrees with me religiously or whatever.
What about aside from religion? What if you went into a pet shop and said, hey, I'm looking for a pet lover to be my roommate. I have a dog. I'm looking for another dog owner. Well, could you not because it excludes cat owners? I mean, what are we getting into?
I don't think that's in the law. It's about religion and race.
Where are we going?
And
We're still also thinking about where the law will go.
What if you said, I want a white roommate?
If you want a white roommate, I think...
Or I want a black roommate.
I think that would be different. I think, you know what? Because I think if you're saying a Christian faith, you want somebody that's like you. And I'm going to give the example. When I was looking for a nanny for Jeffrey, a woman came and she said, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I got to tell you that. And I said, well, I don't agree with your teachings, and you're going to be around my son quite a bit. So I would rather have a person who's a Christian or doesn't have any faith, who doesn't even talk about it. But I know from being a Jehovah's Witness, that's what we're required to do. We don't just sit there. We talk to you, and we talk to you. So I said no.
Okay,
she told that to the wrong person.
Let me ask you why it is different. If you said, I'm white and I'm black and I would like a black roommate. Why is that different?
Why is it different if you say I would like a black person and I'm black? Yeah. I think to exclude...
I'm white and I want a black person. Why is it different if it's color than if it's faith? That's what I'm
maybe it shouldn't be in a way, because it's almost like telling you who to marry. In a way, because you're in the room with the person. You're in your...
So are you saying that...
If you said to me, Barbara, if you said, I only want a white roommate, I respect that. I don't want to be with you if you don't want a black person, in your home. I think
you actually also take it a step further, too. I mean, what happens if you're not the homeowner? I mean, this gets very complex in terms of law. You're then assuming a relationship with the roommates. A lot of people have roommates that don't have a relationship. Okay, is there an emotional tag on this, too?
The bottom line is that we feel that this woman is right to say, I want a Christian roommate, and that
or if she's a Muslim, I want a Muslim roommate.
And that she should not be. This should Michigan should not. What is discriminate? I'm trying to see.
I think
fair housing. It's a fair housing.
Your religion permeates everything that you do. It is who you are.
So she's okay to say that.
So I think even if you were a Muslim, politics, you can say, you do what you do, you do what you do. But I think religion, when somebody's in their religion and it's their faith, everything that you do, everything is around you.
Religion and politics. Do you believe that politicians are then who their religion?
I suppose you say, I'm a liberal and I don't want a conservative.
And you laugh
well,
at
then
that.
I'd be out of a roommate job right there.
Okay, so now I want to bring up something else while we're talking about, choosing and so forth. A Republican Congresswoman, Mary Fallon, she is a married mother of 6, and she is running for the governor of Oklahoma. And she claims that the key difference between her and the Democratic candidate, Jerry Askins, is motherhood. And she says, Ms. Fallon says that she is more qualified for the job because she has children, and the other contender does not have children.
And she's never been married.
And has never been married.
Yes.
So do you think that motherhood, that experience is necessary for being a good governor?
It's so ironic, Barbara. You came up in a time as a newswoman where if you had a family and children, it was harder for you to do your job, and probably they would say, oh, no, she has to take care of her children. Now it's been turned on its head where if you have the children, it's against the woman who doesn't have the children.
Let me see this.
The men, do you know, wait a second, we have 100 senators, 17 of them are women. Do they ask the other almost 80 senators, have you been a nurturing father in your career?
But that's typically something they attribute to women.
Get this dilemma.
Yes, I agree. And you know what, Joy? It's sad because this is the first time that Oklahoma could have a woman leading that state here in politics. And I think that being a mother or a wife should never work for or against you. It is not your...
women.
No, as women, it should never. It has been used against women, and it will be used for
women. But I still think you should bring it into the campaign.
Neither should be used. It should be off limits. And who you are as a person, not as a professional.
I think that it should be used. I think that if you have somebody who's a mother and you're saying I have 6 kids, I am relating to that because I know when you get on an airport, most people who complain about the kids are people who don't have kids. People who have children have a compassion.
But Sherry, you cannot. Let me just tell you what's
happening. You use everything in your life.
Absolutely not, Sherry. And I'll tell you why.
Married, the difference between losing a battle and winning the war.
If you allow, let me say this, if you allow someone to use whether or not you are married and have children for their cause in terms of working, you are then also permitting them to use it against a woman in terms of...
That's the way it works. I think everything in your life, she should not say, did not put that on the back burner and say I'm married with kids.
Number one, you maybe remember when Sarah Palin was running and people said, I think unfairly, well, how can she be a vice presidential candidate? She has these children and one has Down syndrome. How can she manage to do both? Well, she has. I would like to just read you a little bit. Condoleezza Rice, never married, no children. Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan, never married, no children. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, divorced, no children. Janet Napolitano, who was on with us last week, two-term governor of Arizona, never married,
and I think
no
you can
children.
have another list with Hillary. I think you can use Hillary Clinton. I think you can
talk about hot topics. Is it awfully hot in these hot topics today? We'll be right back. You were at a conference in Atlanta this past weekend, and you wondered if you should have taken Whoopi's advice about your hair. Tell us the story.
I was at this conference that State Farm partnered up with Marjorie Harvey and Steve Harvey for the Girls Who Rule the World in Atlanta. It was 100 young black girls, and we were talking to them about self-esteem, about loving themselves, about finding your passion. So I was telling you guys about it, and Whoopi said, you're not going to wear all those wigs, are you, when you go down there and talk to the women? And I was like, what? No. So I said I would not wear my wig. I took my wig off and I showed the girls behind the glamour, this is what my hair looks like. And I told the girls, you will never see me without my wig. And they loved it. I was talking to them. I didn't get dressed up. I didn't know it was going to be pressed there with everybody else. I'm saying
everybody's seeing
so these are the girls, beautiful young girls. But look, I'm standing next to Marjorie Harvey and Carrie Hilson, and they're all blinged out with their, you know, everything. The hair's all done. And I just felt like, for the girls, it was great because you got to show them, but I was a little embarrassed because of the press. Because every picture they show of me now will be me looking like Albert Einstein.
You feel good how you look. No, I think all women feel this way. I think it's like,
but just like when you go on a job interview, Barbara, you do your hair. You're not going to get out the shower and go on a job interview. You're going to fix your hair up. You're going to coif yourself up.
Is it that you don't really like your hair?
I love my hair, but my real hair, but I couldn't wear it on the show, Barbara, because I would be bald. They put too many products.
In real life, your real hair?
On the weekends, you will always see me without my hair. But a lot of people say, they go, well, Sherry, you wear long hair. Are you trying to be white? I think, you know, no, it's not that. Wearing hair is like putting a different hat every day. You can wear a felt hat, a suede hat. You wear different shoes. It's an accessory.
What about black is beautiful?
Black is beautiful with this. Black is beautiful. This woman has dreads. Black is beautiful with short hair. Black is beautiful. And I would argue, you got a lot of white women who try to get a tan. They try to get the lips. They try to get the booty. You want to be me.
Yes.
So
I try really hard
it doesn't mean I don't love myself because I don't wear my real hair.
So, Whoopi, when you come back, we'll continue this discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I feel so good. Woo! I feel so good.
In the meantime, we will be back with a great beauty, Janet Jackson.
Alongside the most powerful actresses in Hollywood in the film for colored girls, and co-star Janet Jackson proves she's just as powerful in front of the camera as she is in front of the microphone. Take a look.
You're saying a lot without saying nothing at all.
I'm sorry.
Save your sorry. One thing I don't need or any more apologies. You know, you were always being inconsistent. Beating my heart to death talking about you're sorry. You know what, I'm gonna put a sign on the door. Better yet, I'm gonna leave a voicemail. A message on my voicemail. If you call to say you're sorry, then call somebody else. I got sorry, greet me at the front door.
Please welcome back Janet Jackson. You look so beautiful. I just have to say, because I have loved you from the start. You came out here, gave me tickets to your concert, Janet, and every hairstyle I've copied. I love your new look. You have cut your hair off. It is a beautiful look. How do you feel about leaving the long locks behind and going?
Oh, I feel very liberated.
You feel liberated.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've cut my hair, though.
Yeah,
but it's the first time I've done it since the whole internet craze, and so everyone's seen the short hair and made such a big to-do about it. So you're gonna cut.
Easier to work with, yeah.
Just get up and kind of go. You're gonna cut your hair?
Girl, no. Well, I mean, I don't mind cutting because it's not mine. So yeah, I can cut. I'll go short. I'll go short tomorrow for you. But we saw the movie and were just blown away by your performance. You've worked with Tyler Perry. This is the third time that you've worked with Tyler Perry, and this is a much different role. Now, when he was here last week, he said he was intimidated by all of the women on the set and working with you guys. Now, were you intimidated at all with everybody?
With everyone? I was so trying to be so focused and to get into the character. I was excited, though. And I didn't really have a lot of scenes with the girls, just, I think, 2.
With Kimberly Elise,
with everyone together,
So most of your scenes are with was it your husband or the man you were living with?
Yes, my husband and my assistant.
You play in this, and I thought you were just terrific, by the way. But you play a magazine editor, very successful, very closed in, very tight person, and as you said, not a very nice person. Where did you look for to be able to portray that? Because that's not, you're soft-spoken, you're kind of shy.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what's, and really trying to dive into the character and reading the script and really trying to pull who she is out. I mean, it was all there in the script, written on every page. It was just a matter of me just really focusing and putting a character together.
When you read the script, did you say, I want to play this?
Tyler actually told me about the character first.
How did he describe you?
As very... Oh, I can't say that.
Yes, you can. Very what?
It won't bleep it.
He called her a bitch.
Oh, we use the word that bitch every day here.
He said she's very...
Say biatch if it makes you feel a little better.
She's a biatch.
There you go.
Sometimes we say witch, and you can say, I am not a witch. How would that be?
I thought it was incredible, too, because it's like the original words that were used in the play 36 years ago, this Tony Award-winning play, were used in this film. Did you ever see the original play?
No, I didn't actually, but I knew of it as a kid. I remember
someone doing it.
It was a hiatus from Good Times, and I was missing my brother so much, so I wanted to go to New York while he was filming The Wiz to see him, and that's when I thought, that's such a long title for a play, and that's how I remembered it, and I knew it was an all-female black cast.
Well,
but I never
cut the
saw
title down now to just the Color Girls, yeah.
Yes.
A theme that runs through this film, and we saw it a little bit in the scene with your husband, is the duplicity of men, the fact that most of the men are so terrible to their women, and it has rape in it and anger and so forth. Have things changed?
I think they have. I think it's gotten better. I mean, back in the day, we were considered second-class citizens. We were
especially
properties.
by your men.
When you say women
were considered second-class citizens. The property of the husband, and there was a lot of domestic violence, and so to speak, we were in the closet. No one would believe you, believe us, and it's a different game today. I mean, we're very powerful. We're the heads of companies. We own the companies. We run them, and now we have a voice, and we're not staying in the closet the way we used to. So I think it's changed.
The laws have changed too.
Yes. But I think it seems more prevalent because there are more women coming out. But I think, in actuality, I mean, now they're listening, and we're getting the help that we've always should have been afforded.
This was a movie to watch so many black women have, usually you see black women in supporting roles as the best friend or the wife or, a judge. But to see a movie where it was so many phenomenal black women having such wonderful, the storylines and something to sink their teeth into was what I sat there and went, I was so proud of all of you guys. To be able to work with all of you. Absolutely, and Whoopi included. We are going to have Loretta Devine is coming on later. You had Anika Noni Rose, Tessa Thompson, Thandi Newton, Felicia Rashad, Kimberly Elise,
Kerry Washington.
Kerry.
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys,
Macy
Gray to be on to see all. You've got to support to see all these beautiful Black women on there just working. How was it just working with everybody? You said you didn't really do too many scenes, but
I really didn't do too many scenes actually, and I kept the times when I did have scenes with them. I kept my distance because just to stay in character. Because she was someone that didn't want to have anything to do with that world, coming from, you know.
So you didn't stay a diva off camera though, did you? Because you were a diva on that camera. Well, we'll find out. We want you to stay. We want you to stay. You tell us. Stage in.
Just before we come back, I want to ask you one of the most poignant scenes that I can remember was at the service for your brother when his children put their head on your shoulder. I'll never forget their love for you and your kindness and love for them. How are they doing?
All of my nieces and nephews are doing very well. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Including Michael's children.
Yeah, all of them, yes.
Well, that's nice to hear. So you're going to stay with us, and we're going to come back. She's going to stick around, and we'll be back with her Colored Girls co-star, who's also wonderful, Loretta Devine, and she is.
Jackson, whose co-star Loretta Devine is a woman we have loved in everything from Waiting to Exhale to Grey's Anatomy, and now is part of the mighty ensemble cast in the movie For Colored Girls. Take a look.
I lived for you. Oh, I know I did it for myself, but I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being sorry and colored at the same time. It's so redundant, huh? In the modern world.
I guess this is goodbye.
Like you've never seen it before.
We're so happy to welcome Loretta Devine. You are fabulous. Thank you. You really are. We love you. I love you, Mama.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Gosh, I watch you every day. I don't. Join in.
You get as riled up as we do here, right? Loretta, you play Juanita in this film. I have to say, the two of you have a remarkable, many scenes, but remarkable scene together when you are just head to head, and I love your character. You play a nurse where you go and you talk to young girls about protecting themselves in heart and in body against men who might be running around on them, bringing back diseases, and interestingly enough, and ironically, your character has a cheating boyfriend.
Exactly.
How common? I mean, a lot of women relate to that, so it obviously is a common theme, right?
Right. Well, you know, everyone teaches you do as I say, not as I do. Sure. So Juanita is that type of person. She's an overgiver. She gives more than she should. And if asked the question if that were me, it may have been me without me knowing it. Because she knows that he's a cheater, and she knows his ex-girlfriend and everything, and she still allows him to come in and out of her life. Because she's in love and she's too lazy to go look for somebody else.
That's funny. You say in this wait a minute, 30 years ago, you auditioned for this part, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
And you got the job in the play.
I got the job, but I was in graduate school and I had to make a choice of whether I was going to stay at Brandeis University or do the play. And I stayed at Brandeis and got my degree.
A master's degree.
What did you get?
You got a master's degree in what?
Fine arts and theater arts. From Brandeis
wonderful.
University, yes.
So it was just a little delay of that blessing.
Yes,
you got to play it a little bit.
So many years later, yes.
This movie is about, it looks at the struggle of a group of women, and then you say that you can relate to your character's struggle because you've had your own struggles. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I'm from a single-parent home. My mom raised 6 of us on her own, and so everything that we got and did was through her effort and my grandmother's effort. And so I come from a family of women, so sometimes it's very hard. And it's hard to know how to relate to men if you're not in, if you haven't watched a man-woman relationship all your life. You're sort of like doing everything by guessing, sort of. So
Is that what you're doing with men now?
no, I'm very clear now.
Yeah, there you go. That's why we have the movies, Loretta.
Yeah, that's
so you learn everything from the movies.
I remember Loretta on a show one time, and they asked about your relationship, and Loretta said, "Nunya," and he said, "What?" And she said, "Nunya," and it's none your business. I love that.
But you know, you're also talking about self-esteem, and you have written a book, Janet, coming out January 1st of the year.
January, yes.
Which is about self-esteem.
True. It's about self-esteem. It's about weight loss, weight gain. Basically, people have asked me, how did I do it? And so instead of just writing about the nutrition and the workout regimen, I decided to go a lot deeper, which took me...
Did you lack self-esteem?
Yeah,
as lovely as you are?
Are you kidding me? Well, that's very sweet of you. Thank you. But yes, I mean, it all stemmed from my childhood. And I wanted it to appeal to kids, for a child to pick up the book.
When did you begin to get it, or do you not have it?
I'm sorry? You said, when did you begin to
get the self-esteem, or do you not have it?
Do you have it now?
No, I still have my moments. I have my moments.
We all do.
Yeah, I think we all do, here and there. But
you know, the thing, Janet, is that people write about your family. They're merciless in many ways, and it's constant. You're always under the microscope. How do you handle all that?
You know, we've been in this business for so long, and there's so many tabloid magazines, the blogs, and I just, with my friends, and I don't pay attention, I don't focus, because if you do...
You ignore it.
Yes, I do. I mean, granted, there are moments when I have rhinoceros skin, but then I'm a very sensitive person at the same time. So it can tend to affect me, so I just completely ignore it.
Well, Loretta, too, I mean, over 80 films, TV shows in the business over 40 years, yet you still I read somewhere that sometimes you think, I'm never going to work again.
Well, I know, because it's a process where you may end up auditioning for something because the director is new and he needs the experience of casting a show. So a lot of people say, God, you still audition after all the things you've done?
We've been in auditions together, you and I.
Right, we've been in auditions. And a lot of times they don't know what age group they want. They don't know anything except they have to meet you.
Also between the actors.
Right. But a lot of people don't audition. They don't want to audition anymore.
This is something I'm burning to ask you.
Oh, God.
You play Adele, the wife of Dr. Weber on Grey's Anatomy. You know Adele. Yes? And I have got to know, will Adele be coming back to Grey's Anatomy?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, now we know what you're going to do. What about you, Janet? More acting roles, more music? I mean, you're on American Idol. Is that going to be something you're... Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
What's your future step?
Both. I haven't.
I got the same outfit, girl, with a girdle.
That was so good.
You wear that with Spanx, it's all good.
I love you for
Will you do that again? More music?
Yeah,
definitely. But a lot of people feel that I've given up my music for acting, and they have to realize this was my first passion. This was my first career. Yes. I had a recording contract when I was 14, but I started acting when I was 10.
Yeah. So which is your first career? The music?
Acting. Midwest.
Yes, and I'm just really living out a dream that I've had for I never really wanted to be in music. I'm not complaining because it's been very good to me, but I did it because my father wanted me to. Yeah. So I'm really finally getting to do something that not that I didn't want to do music, because eventually I said, okay, I'm going to take a stab at it and really go for it, and that's when I finally did the Control album. But I'll do both.
Good. That is good news for us. Well, there's certainly passion here on this sofa and in this film. This is one of the most moving pieces you will see. Yes. We want to thank both Janet Jackson and Loretta Devine for coming by today for Color Girls. Will be in theaters November 5th. Go see it. And members of our studio audience are going home with the soundtrack. We will be right back. You guys are taking the soundtrack.
Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.
Yeah.